All right, a very good evening. Welcome to Agafiire Muwiki. My name is Elijah Kevin Murungi, and a very, very good evening. So today, this is the last day of the week, and of course, we're going to get into the weekend. And every Friday, we come with a particular episode of Agafiire Wiki, and this is always a roundup of all the weekly news updates. And as usual, today with me, I have a gentleman, and we're going to be cruising. We're going to be giving you these things that have been happening in particular areas of the country and also outside the country, that is nationally, locally, and internationally. Nationally, internationally, and our local news here. So with me, at the extreme end, there is a gentleman that is MC Gad, or aka a twin T Gad.
Right.
Yes, you can be able to greet our
All right,
viewers.
good evening, our viewers. Welcome to a vision.
Mm.
I'm very grateful to have finished the week with you when you're fully supporting us. And
Okay.
every person there out,
Mm.
I urge you to support us, watch our shows. You'll be blessed. And I also want to thank our sponsors, Hotel Victory Bija,
Yeah,
for
that's
giving
right.
us the serene environment to
Mm.
run our shows. The environment is so conducive. You may think this show is being
Mm.
premiered from the United States of America, but
Mm.
yet we're in Masindi.
Yeah, we are in Masindi.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, MC Gad. Welcome on the show. Let me have also the sports messiah. That is West Nile Ambassador, the Honorable Stew.
Yes. A very good evening.
You see, Moses, before you even greet our viewers, you have quite a number of titles.
True.
The other time you stood for mayor,
Chairman Lucifer.
chairman LOC5, that is in
Kiriandongo district.
Kiriandongo district. And we hope you're coming back in
I'm
2026.
coming back as now MP.
Okay.
That's the Kibanda South constituency.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Karubanga is now appearing like nothing.
I was with Karubanga in a promotion of Beckham.
Yes.
Yeah, Beckham. That is, he was the main guest. They call them main guest or just guest.
He was the guest.
Chief guest. Yes, chief guest. Yes. Okay, let us wait for the rest. But for now, you can greet our viewers.
Okay. Thank you, our viewers of Elkem TV. Thank you for being with us from that time right up to now. And those who have actually been following sports with us live, we want to welcome you for Agafiire Wiki. So what you have to do is just give us the time and keep on following us as you consider us as your number one priority TV. We are based here in the heart of Masini municipality. We bring for you a lot that transpires within, outside. So just stay tuned and follow us.
All right. Thank you so much. I also want to welcome you back from the sports, that is Elkem Sport, of course, transforming Bunyoro Sport.
Yes.
So we are looking at Agafiire Wiki, and of course, we're going to be giving you all those news updates that have been happening around, around the country and outside the country. Now, in this particular week, we're going to get started with the politics, things that have been transpiring in the political arena. We have had the opposition of Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah, they have been protesting over high costs of living.
Yes.
Maybe let us start from here. What does it mean for a country like Uganda when we see a country like Kenya, our immediate neighbor? And of course, you see Kenya being a first, is it in the first class economy?
Yes.
Middle class economy.
Yes.
Yeah, being with high costs of living. We think these are things that are supposed to be very small things for Kenya. What is your take, Moses?
Actually, Kenya is our immediate neighbor here. And I think whatever happens in Kenya also has to affect us in Uganda. And whenever such a things happen, the cost of living, Kenya buys goods from us. We also at times import, and also we are all like partners in development. And when you try to see the average cost of living in Kenya, it is 4.2 lower than in Uganda. And the cost of actually when you try to see cost of rent in Kenya is averagely 10.2 lower than in Uganda. But we normally actually opposition in everywhere. You expect them. They come with research, they identify issues, and also they're like whistleblowers. But Kenyans, when they protest, I think they've seen that it has gone beyond their control.
Because you see, one of the controversial things is how the fallen Raila Odinga is actually the one that is leading these protests.
True.
Does it mean it is maybe something to do with politics, or it is true the costs of living are really high?
Actually, when it comes to issues of cost of living, certain things are inevitable. And they always changes, and the things like let me say natural calamities. There are some. There also government sometimes reach to the extent of not handling certain things.
Okay.
Like if we are to go back to the history of European, we saw in European history where we had a group of carbonaries, where government of France even ran out sort of money, and the charcoal banners under the association called the Carbonaries movement. They even borrowed the government with the money.
Yes.
Can you imagine charcoal banners having association and giving a loan to the government?
Yeah.
So that one had gone. So certain things do happen where a country reaches to extent and it fails to manage its citizens, whatever they need, the cost of living, try to also accompany with the yes. Raila Odinga contested against Uhuru Kenyatta
and
in the recently concluded election, and he didn't go through. So they still have that anger, they still have that enmity, and it is now like Raila Odinga versus Uhuru Kenyatta, his fans and also the one for Uhuru. But the ruling government and whoever is in control, I think, has to see the way how they harmonize the situation and see that people come back to their normalities. But I think cost of living might be there, but I don't see it as the main issue.
Yeah.
Politics has also entered in it.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me cross to Gad. You see, MC Gad, in Kenya, we actually thought things to do with tear gas and arrests, of opposition members. Opposition members is maybe something that we that is only in a country like Uganda, because if you remember so well, actually not very, very long ago, these are things that are happening every single day when Ugandans try to come up to protest. You see the government or the security agencies of Uganda will actually tear gas them. They will do this and the other. If we are seeing the same things in Kenya, again, what does it mean for Uganda? Does it mean for us it is going to be worse?
No, that it's going to be worse. If you're to see when you're studying economics in secondary level,
okay,
when you're on growth and development, whenever there's any transitioning from a country from one class of development to another, there are some implications that come in.
Okay.
Now, right now, Kenya may be in that stage of transitioning from the middle class.
Yeah.
Maybe they are trying to push up to the first class. So the first class economy will come with different things, both positive and negative.
Yeah.
Where the negative side, high costs of living will come in. For those who can afford them,
yeah,
they will cope up easily. But those who can't afford won't cope up easily. But now I'm seeing the opposition team of Kenya is using this as a spark of point to create the chaos. Because what I know, since the saga of Russia-Ukraine came in, mostly East African countries we have suffered.
Suffering high costs.
Actually, Uganda, even there's time reached to have to abandon prices, some of the things because of their prices. We never went for a strike.
Yeah,
and we have one of the strongest opposition in East Africa, in Uganda, but we never went to strike.
Okay.
But I think these other opposition leaders of Kenya are using this as a spark of point to start up the strike. Because if you can, like someone like Odinga, he won't come to strike over costs of living.
Yeah.
He's having a hidden agenda inside in that strike.
He's actually the one that is leading the whole strike, thing, the whole...
This strike may be like a decoy that they want to pass their agendas through the strike, so that as investigations come in, they'll say, no, remember this thing may bring in the International Criminal Court. They'll say, no, they are striking for human rights. But as we are seeing, of recent, there has been a lot of struggle within the East African countries and the Western countries. Some opposition people are funded by Western countries.
Yeah.
You may find maybe these opposition leaders in Kenya wanted to make something go through their August house, but they wouldn't bring it in. And it may have been a long-term strategy where they are saying,
now it is time to put it.
This is like, remember, we used to have points in history, like these rebellions that came up to fight the colonialists. You would see the points that would bring up the rebellions were minor points which are known as spark of
factors. Yeah.
So you may find these Kenyan opposition leaders, they have been piling up all the anger from the time of election.
Actually, no wonder, you see, the opposition of Kenya has accepted that they were won in the election. You see, it was a very, very slight difference of 200,000 votes against Raila Odinga, and that is how the current Ruto managed to win the election. Maybe now away from that, away from Kenyan politics, but of course this is something that has been coming up all this week. The high costs of living in Kenya. Some of the things that are being put across is the fuel. Fuel prices have really hiken, and also the unga something.
That's posho flour.
Yeah, the posho flour, unga. Yes, and remember this is a staple food for Kenyans. Yeah, for it being and sukuma wiki. Now, for unga being really expensive, it is something that is of interest for the opposition to be able to bring up and definitely have a protest on. Now, getting to Ugandan politics, the Ministry of Education and Sports is working on a new policy. This is something that has started that is about Tuesday this particular week, and they're looking at making the UPE and USE, that is Universal Primary Education and Universal Secondary Education, fully for free. You see, there have been these fees that you can pay examination fee, you can pay this particular fee, you can pay this and the other. But if you remember very well, in 2015, about 2015-14, President used to say, why can't we scrap off this thing? You see, he's the one that actually led it then. When the 10 points program, was it 10 points? I think when he was coming in power, he said we shall have free education and things. Now, here in 2014, it's the same person who suggests, can we just have this UPE thing off? Now, when Ministry of Education is coming up to make it completely for free, and now they are actually coming up with that policy, where does it leave us as a country?
Actually, the fees have been there. People pay some little fees, but those fees are somehow important. You may find the Ministry of Education, they need the education in the youth and UP schools to be totally free. But then, how will they manage to handle the whole budget of the whole schools in the country? We have been finding teachers complaining, salaries are delaying. And with the UPE schools and the US schools, they have teachers who are paid by the PTA. Those are the teachers who are not on the government payroll. Meaning, if such a fees are to be scrapped off, these teachers will remain unemployed. And if you're to move around Masindi, you may find that at least 10% of the staff are PTA members. Because some schools have cleaners, although they're UPE schools, they have cleaners, they have watchmen. So if these fees are to be scrapped off, will they really say that they will be providing things like examination papers in time to the schools? Because schools have been buying exams from these other suppliers of schools like the CIPRO, TAN Examination Board. But now, meaning if the Ministry of Education is scrapping off such a fees, they are going to be setting examinations.
Should we say the country or the government is taking up a load?
It's a heavy load.
It's something that they cannot be able to manage, because if they actually were in position to manage putting up completely free education, I think this is something they would do then. They would have done then. I mean, with this whole economic crisis, and then you're bringing up such a suggestion. Maybe, you never know. Let me get to hear from Moses. What is your take about this policy that is coming up by Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports?
Okay, thank you. I think when you try to see Uganda is one of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa to come out with that initiative of actually forming that universal primary education. That was the way back in 1997, and they also came back with that universal secondary education. That was in 2007. So that every community or everyone has to access free education. Because their main aim of coming with that universal secondary education and UPE was basically to help those vulnerable people who cannot afford education. There are some parents even who can, even if they say totally it is for free, they can even not afford.
They will tell you transport.
We don't have. I don't have uniform, books. So that one is there. But besides that, irrespective of whatever kind of government or the policies that are brought in, that it is universal UPE or universal secondary education, but we have been seeing some children being sent off from government school. They go and bring some of those. There are some charges they put on them. Even they task them to pay certain amount of money. People were wondering if it was to be universal or if it was to be universal primary education or secondary education, how comes that there are certain charges, and even some government schools that are, who have benefited through those universal secondary education and UPE, they even pay much money than some private schools.
Yeah, that's
so
right. Yeah.
even if the Ministry of Sports and Education is coming out that they want to scrap it completely, I don't see any difference in that.
There is no impact.
Still,
actually, it is putting us in a worse
there is
position.
no impact. I think they should just
leave it, or even make it more expensive, because
exactly.
you see, if we are looking at quality education,
Yes.
this is my opinion. Education is an investment.
Yes.
Yeah. If there is that parent who doesn't really want to invest in their children, okay, let us say maybe because of poverty lines, ABCD. But again, in Uganda, it is where you're going to find most of the parents, actually those in villages,
Yes.
and those that do not want to take their children to private schools. They are the ones that are doing the agriculture. Those people do maize, they plant all sorts of things, but at the end of the day, the money still goes back to the garden, and it is for them to drink and eat, probably on Christmas and these public holidays. You see, I think we need to invest in education as a country, but also maybe what the Ministry of Education can do, instead of scrapping it off completely, the money that would be invested in making it free education, at least let them invest it in maybe the teachers, learning tools, the books, instead of these children being sent for textbooks.
Yes.
To buy textbooks, to buy these things, they can be able to do that. Okay, and now I'm away from the Ministry of Education. Some other thing that happened this particular week is how we see the conversations about electoral reforms in Uganda. You see, we had quite a number of they call them bills,
Yes.
coming up for us to have electoral reforms, and one of the things were about the term limits. Yeah, term limits, putting them back to 2 years. You remember we scrapped off the term limits, and it is now open, open bill. You can come and then you can be able to be in a particular office, more especially presidency, for all the years that you want.
Yes.
But these are reforms that are constitutional reforms that are really coming up. What do you have to say about these new electoral reforms that are coming up?
Yeah, actually, electoral reforms, there have been much debate about them. This is the kind of democracy, reforms, if we are to follow them and we go with them, it is totally democracy, but we have been seeing those things in Uganda. They bring them after there, they take them to parliament, the parliamentarians debate on them. Later on, they are again sent that you have to go and make consultation whether the citizens are okay with them.
So first of all, they play a delay tactic. Secondly, they use our public resources.
Exactly.
And where there is no actually accountability.
We have been seeing about these age limits. They have been sending our members of parliament to come on grassroots. Others even don't reach their own electorates. They go and sit in expensive hotels. They just call that our people.
It is okay.
Our people have accepted that they are okay with it. So these things of reforms, I think, even if they are to bring these things of term limits, maybe. They may work, but I don't see that thing going to work, whereby they just leave somebody to go and contest like it is just going to be for specific people, but in certain categories, it may not work for them well.
Yeah, all right. Let me cross to MC Gad. You see, electoral reforms, it has been a song in Uganda. Actually, from the time that we had, initially, I think we had term limits.
No, it was age
scrapped first. Yes. No, term limits scrapped first. Then later they also get now to that is Article 122. Was it? Is it 122?
The age limit.
Yeah, the age limit, and they also scrapped it off. Now, years later, we actually 10 years later, we actually saying now we need to get back to the conversation of scrapping. Putting back the term limits.
Okay,
what is your take on this one, Gad?
It's a good initiative the EC is bringing up, but then
you see, the other thing, as you're really approaching this, you see, the Constitution of Uganda, I don't know what we take it for, but this is something we look at editing every single day, and then it looks like a company profile.
I was heading to that, to what you're talking on about. Bring the reforms is good, but then one thing we should respect is our Constitution.
Okay,
the Parliament should first discuss
the legislatures,
bring in an article which protects the Constitution from being tampered with at any
each,
time.
every time and
Because
again.
the current EC will come and bring back age limit. I mean term limit. They put maybe 2 terms. Those are 10 years in 10 years in office.
Yes.
Then a new one will come because he or she needs favor from the bosses who scrub them off again. Says it's an open term. For you can steal your tire. That's when you leave elections, or when they win you.
You go. You leave office.
Give up. So if that thing, it can be changed right now. It will help us. If a new committee comes in, may come with its own rules. As each person in Runyoro we say, meaning each hill with its own leopard. And also in another biblical saying, each Moses has his own Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Meaning our EC may be our Pharaoh. Then the parliamentary members are the Moses. These ones may work hand in hand, they accept.
Yeah.
Then comes in a new set of MPs.
You see, MC God, what is funny about amendments in the constitution here in Uganda, even how these bills are supposed to be passed. You see, we are looking currently, what is trending so much is the anti-homosexuality bill, and how the president is supposed to be the last person to put a signature so that this bill can become probably a law in the constitution. Now, these term limits, the reforms are putting back the term limits. I mean, he is the person who is supposed to sign them last. Does it mean we are actually playing games, and at the end of the day, it is something that is not going to be achievable?
And it, like, as MPs come up with each bill or something to talk about in parliament, remember each sitting they make, that's money. So we should also look at the other side. As they sit, for them, they are earning. So even though it takes like 2 years or 3 years when they're talking about the same thing, for them, they'll be earning. But in the long run, it may help with the Ugandans in that the new generation that is coming in for these posts, they will serve, and the people voting them into power, they will have enough time to assess the people they are voting. Because if you're any leader and you're going to serve your people, even one time you can serve your people to your capacity. Remember, there's what we call a bliss point. If these people are to rule for more than 3 years, I mean 3 terms, the person in the first 2 terms will have a normal progress. But then the person will reach somewhere where they will get stagnant. And the person will go back from where he or she began from. For example, like in Soroti, this presidential candidate of FDC who never went through, Patrick Oboy, he was their MP. But when he was voted out of office, every developmental thing he did in the city, he scrapped it off. He went and scrapped it off. That's why I'm saying if someone overstays in parliament, they may be taking advantage of doing some things. I'm also supporting the term limit thing. If they can make it like 2 years for the MPs, then they say for the presidential candidate, since it's a bigger post, they put it to 3 years.
that is, honestly, to me, that is quite much. I mean, in 10 years, because a term has actually about 5 years, then plus the 5 that is about 10 years. Honestly, for someone that is actually supposed to do something, maybe what we can do is, if we have term limits, 2 years, and then maybe they can add an extra 2.
Actually, there's something that they wanted to bring in. That they were saying the first term, the first term MPs rarely work. They say like the new ones. They say the first year they're getting used to the system. At the time they're getting used how to lob for things for their districts. Then the time is done. They're back to campaign. So I think
that actually means in the first time they hardly know what to do. But I think it is high time. You see, being in such a position, you should be honestly, you should be able to figure out particular things. You don't have to take a lot of time to claim that, hey, actually, I'm still learning this.
Actually, even another thing that should be
These are old people.
If you see when you're going for starting from the mayor, the age bracket is 18 years and above. And the minimum is Form 6. Also, there's something they should change. I can be from Form 6 and I'm 18 years. They will allow me to go for a big post. But at least a post like from an MP, they should also increase on the age.
On the age?
A contestant should have.
All right.
Even the presidential
post. Thank you so much. Our viewers that are watching us live on Elcom TV, this is Agafiire Muwiki, where we give you a news roundup of the things that have been happening in the week. And for this particular episode, we are trying to make sure that we digest each and every update that has been able to come through. But maybe to do a small recapitulation of what has been happening, we had the opposition in Kenya staging a protest over the high prices of commodities, that is the unga and the fuel prices, or high standards of living. And then we had the Ministry of Education and Sports in Uganda coming up with a policy to completely make the education system of the universal primary education and then the universal secondary education completely for free. And then earlier this week, we had constitutional conversations, of course, constitutional reforms, and they are advocating for having put back the term limit for presidency. All right. And now, Moses, something that has really been happening this particular week, that is on Tuesday, when Parliament actually sat again, they came up again, they brought back the draft bill, that is the anti-homosexuality bill. And this is something they debated, and they had to actually, most of the members of Parliament, about 300 something, voted in favor of the bill, the anti-homosexuality bill. And the penalties that have come up actually to start with, because what interested me was media. They actually say if media personnel are promoting homosexuality, their penalty is 20 years in prison. 20 years in prison. I don't know if they'll close the media houses as well, but for media personnel, it is 20 years in prison. Yes, guys.
Okay. The bill coming in and becomes a law.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
But the act they're stopping, not that I'm supporting it, but the act they're stopping, it's something done in privacy.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we shall come to public, everyone is singing, let's fight homosexuality, let's fight homosexuality. But one thing that we should know, we as Ugandans, we should first go back to our homes. Let's start from our homes. The MPs will come and vote. We shall be happy. Uganda, on the international scene, we shall have made a name by stopping that.
Of course, the name is something we've made already, because if you realize the whites, the Western people have actually already started tweeting. I saw a certain, was it a statesman from a certain country, I don't remember which one exactly, who came up and said Uganda is actually it is not respecting human rights for people that would love to practice this. But let me first speak again Moses' opinion on this homosexuality bill, while I'll get back to you.
Yeah, actually, what has been trending so much actually is about this issue of homosexuality bill, and it was taken before the parliament. MPs actually came in, and the president is the final person to sign on it.
Yeah, that's
no
right.
wonder they have actually come up, and what has also amused me is that penalties are being given to media in case they come out and promote. Now my question is actually, when you're a media personnel, and because you cannot just go and speak about something or sensitize people outside who are listening or who are viewing or who are following about anything that you don't know. Because if it is from parliament that they have passed the bill, and whatever was passed, that is what you have to pass to the public. That you know what, these are some of the challenges or the dangers or penalties that shall be given to people who will come out and practice homosexuality. But
you see,
now
these things actually, usually when they are discussing these matters, this is something that remains in their boardrooms.
True.
In the August House. I mean,
Yes.
the public doesn't know about these penalties, and at the end of the day, they're going to catch these people, like,
Exactly.
and they'll tell them ignorance of the law is no defense.
And the media is actually the eye of the eyeless and the ear of the earless. So without media, I think people outside there may not be knowing what could have been, what is happening, and what government is planning to do. So if actually they are saying the penalty is 20 years of imprisonment, but I don't think that there is any other media personnel who will come and talk against about this. If you try to see Uganda currently, actually in some of those countries, Africa and Europe, Uganda is one of the countries that has come strongly to condemn homosexuality. And those, there might be few who are actually practicing it, but I don't think after this law being passed in parliament and coming out with such penalties that people will actually practice homosexuality. But back to issues of media, I don't think anyone will come out and talk against what has been passed in parliament, unless otherwise, if that person has his or her own interest or selfish interest about the issue of homosexuality. But the penalty of 20 years being given to a media personnel who comes and talks, I'm actually not happy with that.
You see what is funny? Let me pose a question to you.
Yes.
If we are actually talking about homosexuality, are we promoting it, or
we are not promoting it?
I mean, okay, in this sense, talking about an evil is actually another way of telling the people that, hey, this thing is existing.
True.
And then you see some people will want to dig and digest that this thing they're really actually asking us not to engage in. How does it really happen? Yeah, so that is also something that we are supposed to look at.
True.
Okay, now you find yourself in the middle. Yeah, you ask yourself, can I talk about this? When I talk about it, now it is giving it more audience. And then some other thing is there is a child that came up.
Yes.
He says, and she says at the same time. You see, okay, let me use it. When it was a baby, it had two organs, and then when he or she gets to hear
hermaphrodite,
hermaphrodite, yes. When he gets to hear about this whole thing of homosexuality bill, now there is a question of where am I really supposed to be? I mean, I can either go for a man, I can go for a woman, but they will tell you that she has a physical, okay, she can be able to do, she can be able to attract, to get attracted to men, and at the same time attracted to the women. I mean, where does it leave someone of that caliber?
Actually,
honestly,
that one is very hard actually to discuss about, because somebody having those two, okay, you're actually
private parts,
two private parts.
Honestly, I mean, now homosexuality,
that one is very technical. I don't know how they will handle such a kind of people. But sometimes also maybe they have to take it back to parliament and they review about it.
You see, something parliament is not doing is it is not engaging community.
Definitely.
You see, they will get into the boardrooms to actually think for millions of Ugandans, and at the end of the day, you see, they have not thought about the Aphrodites.
True.
I have two private parts, and
now which penalties shall be given to such a people? Are they going to advise them, maybe you cut one of the private part, the men with the... So those are some of the questions.
I mean, even my feelings, I'm attracted to men at some point, and I'm even attracted to women. Now, which one should I cut? Let me get to God.
When we bring in the hermaphrodites, those in English sometimes they're termed as bisexuals.
Yeah, bisexuals.
And if you are to see, you're saying to engage the community. If you're to move in Masindi,
how many are they?
How many do we have? You may not even find one. Those cases are rare.
Yeah,
they are rare.
But okay, we are not going to keep a deaf ear and a close.
But it's upon the person.
Blind eye.
What I know when someone is an hermaphrodite, there's what we call, if you go to science, there's a dominant gene and there is a recessive gene. A dominant is a stronger one. So meaning if that person is a hermaphrodite, that would be a dominant gene.
Yeah.
If the gene that is dominant is of being a male person, that person will be more of masculine.
Okay.
If the dominant one is a female one, that person will be more of feminine. So meaning we should put some things aside there like collateral damage. Because you may think we are bringing in the hermaphrodites. You find in the whole Uganda don't have two of them.
Actually, since you do the entertainment bit, today or yesterday, one of the 2 days, I got to see this today on Twitter. So I did not really mind about when it was tweeted, probably yesterday, last night, or today. The son of the president-elect, as Ugandans put it, that is the Honorable Bobby Wine Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. The son actually came up, Kampala. He came up and said, you know what, are you people, instead of talking about, okay, he's trashing the anti-homosexuality bill, and he's saying, instead of talking about poor roads, poor education, poor what, can't you invest money here? I mean, you're busy making alarms about anti-homosexuality, and the dad is actually quiet about it.
Actually, with Kampala, I won't blame him because
he's a young man.
not being young, the parents don't correct him. Even though recently he was in a fix when he made dreadlocks and media came out, people in media came out shouting. There's a time the mom came out and blasted the lady on media, was like
on TikTok,
like go and look
produce
after your kids or produce your own
and
kids
and
advise yours. Meaning, if such a boy is to come out and say such a thing and the parents are silent, it's not a new thing. I remember that's not the first time His Excellency Chagulanyi Sentamu he's silent on about the homosexual stuff. Pastor Bujingo told him most media, most celebrities have come out to speak ill about homosexuality. Why is silent? Come out and tell us. The only thing he told the media, have a wife and have kids. But having a wife and having kids can't stop someone from being a homosexual.
Yeah, because you've said Julie Mutesasida.
Left her marriage and got
with
a fellow
kids, imagine, very talented young kids.
And got a fellow woman. Meaning if Solomon Kampala comes up and say that, I remember some people engaging to homosexuality, they're not doing it that they like it. So it's circumstances.
Yeah, circumstances, and then bandwagon.
Because then you have friends, they tell him, you know what, us are into homosexuality, but they are paying us much money. And someone is told like, that's like how much that. For example, they'll give you 50M. And the person sit back and say 50M
versus just sitting putting there my nyash for minutes.
And like and the person says, if I'm to see the whole of my net worth in a year,
I can't even raise $1 million.
Not even raise $1 million. The person will go there. But now Kampala was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He has everything.
All right. He needs. All right. Thank you so much. MC God. Now I'm actually going to start with you again as we're going to get to a little bit of sport. You know, when we do a lot of politics, it gets boring. Speaker Among, Anita Among, is one of the first Ugandans or civil servants that has been able to come out to declare her wealth. You see, this is something that came up in Parliament. No, not just in Parliament, by the IGG. Yes, the IGG. For civil servants to be able to declare how much they are getting, how much is their net worth, what are their investments, and how do they spend. You see, because as a way to curb corruption, we need to understand if you are in defense or UPDF, we need to understand if you have investments, how much are you earning? And if you are spending, you're buying cars, you're buying this and this every day, where are you getting the money? I mean, we need to understand. So the IGG, the Inspector General of Government, came out and said we need to have a declaration of wealth from these civil servants. Anita Among is the first person that came out, but also something that has been making rounds on social media and also on mainstream media is how the president is now coming out to say that, hey, you cannot make certain people declare. Actually, he said he asked the IGG not to get to involve herself into things of saying that the UPDF is not supposed to do to declare wealth. Where does it put us as Ugandans? Does it mean that we cannot be able to investigate even at the people that are meant to serve us?
Actually, if someone try to defend the president, because the IGG personnel may come out and say each civil servant should come up and tell us how they're spending their net worth. Elijah, things of net worth, I can't hide my net worth.
No, you're a public servant. I mean, we are trying to make sure that we fight corruption.
We fight corruption. I can come and tell you in a month I'm spending 100M. But in the real case, that's not the money I'm spending.
No. Okay, let's tag expenditure versus income. How can you spend what you don't have? Or how do you spend?
No, I may be earning 10M per month.
Okay.
And I spend 15M in a month. The deficit I'm spending may be a loan.
Okay.
Maybe a credit. Then again, also the president saying we shouldn't, other civil servants shouldn't be investigated. Meaning they are pulling us. But if you are to a country like America, before you come into power, either you're president or on the Senate or you're governor, they first have to know your wealth, the businesses you have, your net worth. So that when you come into power, you won't be milking the taxpayers.
The taxpayers.
The IGG has come out with a good initiative. Because all along we have seen, since Amongi became the deputy speaker, she has been having a fleet of expensive cars. Then she became a speaker. She bought actually a vehicle
Honestly,
which is more expensive than the present vehicle.
yeah,
Ugandan's plane,
that's right.
her Benz. Meaning, we are seeing each step she's taking in the public offices, she's adding on her wealth.
I mean, why is she getting this money? Where? I mean, where? From where? You are just an MP, and then maybe you are...
Actually, she's an MP of Bukedi region, Bukedi, along Soroti Road. If you are to reach her region, it's her area she's representing in parliament. It's not that developed. But for her personally, she's developing herself. Meaning,
she bought a car for the husband on his birthday. Was it a car, a house?
Magogo. It was a vehicle. I think it was a Range Rover. Meaning, the IGG coming up with that initiative, she's doing something good.
Yeah.
Because even remember, there have been some aspects where MPs were being given money for the vehicles to buy, where they're given 800 M plus, but even the MP again buys something that's not of that money. So if we come in with all these initiatives, actually this is the first time Uganda is coming out with one of the basic ways of curbing corruption in the country, according to me.
All right.
Because if you have to start with the civil servants to know how they spend versus what they earn, meaning we shall be fighting corruption, they will fear to embezzle some funds because even now media will begin giving an eye. They say maybe Guardian MP, let's see your net worth. Yeah, I'm saying to me it's a good initiative. Though the president is everything, as we say, since
is the fountain of honor.
Since Corona time began in Uganda, the president is our head of family.
Yeah,
because he can come and say today school should close. No one will refuse. So I'm saying
without reason.
This initiative may fail because of that.
All right. Thank you so much, MC Guide. Now let me cross to the sports messiah. You see, the president, that is Museveni, Museveni. You see, when he puts, I don't know, how do we understand this letter? Actually, the letter just leaked on social media. It just leaked on social media. It wasn't this official, but then it was directed to the IGG. Is it a directive in your opinion? Is it command? Is it a suggestion? How do we term this in your opinion?
Actually, president directs. It is a direction.
It is a direction.
Yes.
Directive.
It is directive from president, and you have to respect it. You have to.
Why?
Because he's the fountain of honor.
Okay. The president directs, but also in the constitution of Uganda, the IGG has all the capacity.
Yes.
If she puts up something, it is non-debatable.
Yes.
And now, if the president is only directing and this is not supposed to be negotiable, does it mean they are jeopardizing the office of the IGG?
To actually a certain extent, I think, they might be jeopardizing, but the president is mandated. President can even decide that certain things should not happen, and they have to obey.
Okay, now according to you, is it for a good cause? Maybe let me be able to read for our viewers what the header of the letter was saying. Let me see. I am writing to inform you that it is not correct for IGG to seek to get wealth declarations from soldiers and other security personnel whenever the law says. The law must be tender with logic.
That is the letter. Yes. So there are categories of things, and there are certain offices and individuals who are untouchables. Now, forces, we have different departments.
UPDF,
we have UPDF, we have prison, we have the police. And in most cases, as per now, when you try to see Uganda People's Defense Force, there was a time actually where somewhere, and a debate came over this. How does the people earning salaries? How they are not revealed, how they are spending their money on certain things, but they are not accounted for. So those people just Now somebody say, hey, those people are there, they are taking care of you, they are protecting you, they are sleeping outside, everyone is always for you, always there in your rooms, you are enjoying sleep. But those people, why should you really come out and you want
life
really to
audit
audit such a person who is sacrificing his life for you?
They are sleeping
But
outside, they are
you
in
want to be
guns,
eager.
bullets.
Bullets. Somebody doesn't know any time that his life is going. So
And then you
they
want
are
to put a
actually
life audit.
you want to put a life audit. So certain things you just need to ignore. Maybe when it comes to accountability, accountability for accountability purpose, I think IGG might be right, because if they say that everyone should come out to declare their wells, it might be just to a certain extent to fight corruption. Because there are certain people indeed. Somebody may come into office, just finishes a month or 2 months,
and
but
they are driving.
people start to see, really, that person, where was that person working before? How was he really come to get that wealth within this shortest period of time? So those are certain things that maybe IGG has come out with to see that the issue of corruption, the corruption cases can reduce in this country. But if the president says that UPDF should actually not be tampered with, or they should not bring these things of auditing, they might have sensed or realized something. So they should actually, maybe it is also now IGG to find out from president why. And then later on, maybe you may get the answer. But as for now, if president comes and
you
say,
see, the
no.
president, I remember while we had, they were convening in Kololo, and then this lady of anti-corruption unit, she tried to bring up the whole thing of corruption, and then the president came up and said, for as long as it is okay to be corrupt, if the money is okay. He said, now what is the importance of trying to have this life audit, and then later people are going to start investing the money in other countries? It is okay if they are investing it here.
Yes, actually, back to the issue of UPDF. When you try to see Ugandan UPDF, actually it has been ranked actually here in Africa and also within Uganda here. The most they are not corrupt. The way how they do their things, actually they are praising this UPDF of recent, not even about a week. There was a debate about the recent COVID, when we were in that saga of COVID-19 when it broke out. So people were saying, comparing how those UPDF managed to handle the issue of corruption compared to other forces like police. And those guys, sometimes they could even arrest them. They say, you need to find your way out, how to escape in hands of these police forces. They can just tell you, okay, you are arrested, but please find your way. You go away. But when you land on the police without money, you cannot actually go. You cannot say they took it as an advantage. But people
they
were
used
praising.
To call it, they used to call it something.
Exactly. Kitu kidogo. Kitu kidogo.
Speak like a Ugandan.
Yeah, speak like Ugandan. What? So they are trying to compare how UPDF of nowadays, how they do their things professional, how they are not corrupt. So they are compared
to the
police.
Okay.
So if
the salary scales of UPDF in police differ.
Yeah, they do differ.
Know, UPDF and have more freebies on them than the police.
Yes.
Remember, this police, its work is to keep law and order, and UPDF, their role is to maintain peace and unity in the country.
Yes.
Meaning, even the incentives they're getting are different. So we should seeing police being corrupt. You find like a mere police officer without any rank. Let's say that person is earning like 350 per month, and that person, they're exempted from some types of taxes, but then that person has a bigger family to look after, and may find in a month he needs like 500 to keep the family moving. So that's why when they arrest someone, they will request something small from you.
Okay,
2,000.
To me, that is something government should be able to look at.
Yes.
If they claim they want this lifestyle audit, lifestyle audit, can they get all these agencies?
Exactly.
No wonder we have a lot of ministries. I mean, where does the police fall? They should be having a ministry. They should be in position to come up and say, you know, if you're a police officer, declare how many children do you have? How big is your family? Then at the end of the day, can they look at how they can, you see, curbing corruption has to start with security.
What you're saying, declaring how many people are in a family. That thing may not work.
I mean, we do population census.
Some people still hide still hide.
Now that is their problem. They shouldn't be able to start imposing it on citizens and asking them for kintu kidogo.
Actually,
I really want us to get off that point so that we can catch time. We have about 5 minutes.
Yes, I just wanted to add something briefly on these things of declaring wealth. There was actually a video circulating on a certain civil servant, the primary teacher, when government came out that initiative of maybe that they should declare wealth. The man was like, now even me, I'm here struggling. I'm a government teacher. I even don't have a goat. I don't have. Now what should I declare? Real. Which wealth should I declare? I've served the country for all these years. So there's no goat, there's no chicken, but I'm teaching. Now which wealth should I declare? And how shall it government? How can it really help? Of what impact is that declaration of wealth? So some of those things, yes, a government comes out with them. Maybe they know they want to hit a certain target, but at a certain point, I think it may not even work.
All right. Now, something that has been also surrounding or making rounds on social media again, and also in that is in Mbale, where they have actually asked the taxi drivers to start paying tax of 840,000 per year. Now, these people were tax exempted initially, but now when they were actually imposing the taxes on them, I mean, you're supposed to pay 840,000 per year. And in Mbale, these taxi drivers actually protested and they said, we cannot get into the taxis. We're not going to drive. Yeah, where does it, I mean, how about that?
So, Elijah,
850 per
40 per year annually.
Per year.
That is a
but
tax.
If you say a place like Mbale,
Yes.
at least I've been using that side to move to Soroti when I was at university. Mbale is a city, and it's the first city that you reach in when you're from Kenya. So those taxi drivers, actually in Mbale, taxis make a lot of money. Because some of them are into dirty deals of smuggling in people. I think that's why they're trying to curb. But then if government comes out and says you're supposed to pay 840 annually, meaning there is what I know, those things are paid in the bank. I can pay in installments. And another thing, if you fail to drive that day, government won't make a loss. For you protest and fail to drive, but it will be your family suffering. And I'm saying, since taxis were exempted from paying tax by the president, they have even not been valuing customers.
Yeah.
At least if they bring back these taxis, they'll value customers.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they'll give them a bit of respect. All right. Now this is sad news. We had in our border here, that is Tanzania. We had the first breakout of this. How do they call it? That disease, Marburg. Yes, something like that. And so far in Tanzania, they have registered 5 deaths, and about 3 people are still in critical condition. Where does it leave us as a country again?
Actually, since Tanzania is our neighboring country, and this disease is more of a viral disease that it's airborne, meaning even us may affect us. But what I know, there is a year, I think, when primarily when they did a vaccination of Marburg fever in Uganda. And since we try to curb it with the vaccination, and if you are seeing East Africa, even during the corona time, actually Uganda was one of the countries that came out hard to fight the outbreak. So in terms of disease outbreaks, Uganda were ever ready. So even seeing when Ebola came in, it was hitting the Mumende side. But the president had taken an initiative of locking down all schools by making them break off, or from primary to secondary before that time reached. Only left universities and colleges. Meaning, since we have already got the news that's at the border, it's going to give our Ministry of Health enough time to prepare for it. They can see the age bracket that is hitting most.
To me, honestly, we have a full Ministry of Disaster and a Ministry of Disaster and Preparedness, something like that. But honestly, we are hit by a lot of things as a country. I feel like Uganda is just hit by anything.
No,
that
actually,
comes,
there are some things
hits.
that hit a country, even though you have a ministry.
Take an example. In Kenya, they are protesting over high prices, and we get fuel from Kenya. You understand? Tomorrow, we do not have as Uganda, we do not have any reserves. For fuel. Like maybe we have let us say over 1,000 tanks, or let us even 100 tanks where we have our reserves for fuel, that in case maybe anything happens to Kenya and then we cannot be able to get fuel, we are going to be able to utilize.
But
I mean, that preparedness.
There are some things that come in, like lightning, they're too fast. And they are maybe a short-term thing. What we know, those riots in Kenya are soon ending. And they may not turn into any crisis because the East African Highway, which transports fuel up to the DR Congo, is going through Uganda. Meaning, even other countries will be hit. Meaning, there will be a way of fighting for that crisis to end. And we can also devise for other means. We can ship fuel through Tanzania to Uganda.
All
but
right.
now, like for diseases, there's what we have to know. Like diseases, there's what we call chronic and non-chronic. Then there's what we call acute, subacute, and paracute. There are diseases that
you've started your medical terms.
No, there are diseases that come
I
in
didn't see this coming.
very fast, and even though you have prepared for them, you can't stop them. But there are those which come in gradually. Like for Corona, it was like a wind which swept us internationally.
All right.
But not like for Marburg, even you're seeing the people have died, they've said 5. Meaning, since we have already known, we can prepare.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, MC God. Let me get to Moses and Amma. We are not going to. You can be able to shift the microphone. We are not going to be able to talk about the Marburg breakdown. But now, usually they say, ebiro byomusuma bibana. I don't know how to put that in English, but the thief. The days of a thief 40 are 40 days. Now, you see, these people, as they were eating the COVID-19 funds, as they were doing all sorts of things during COVID-19, again, something that has come up this week is how the parliament has started investigating the people who are actually embezzling these funds. And one of the things, the COVID-19 funds, in a certain, some officials, some government officials, what they did was, instead of, you see how they used to give money, you know what, in this quarantine, buy for people food, buy this and the other. These people actually didn't use the money. They used to keep the money for themselves. And then at the end of the day, they claim, an allegation that came out is how these officials used the money to buy utensils for a certain hotel instead of buying food for the people that were in quarantine. Where does it, I mean, as a country, do we have, why do we see a lot of misappropriation of funds?
Actually, thank you. This thing of COVID-19, indeed, when COVID-19 came, there were a lot of issues that came in. And other people are saying this disease has come for other people to get wells, especially those ones who were in the health department.
Just like I'm worried about the Marburg.
Yes, it cut across. In forces, police, those people, the health people, they were now saying, and even the allegations and rumors that even some of those people whom they suspected to have been positive were not. So people were all doing those things in order to get money. We saw Fanda, we saw the well-wishers coming in, giving in a lot of money, ambulances, vehicles.
Actually, we collected about, as a country, the citizens collected a lot of
even
millions.
up to now, people are still wondering where some of those funds where the up to now. And then going to maybe misuse of those funds, fine. Even that one has been here in our district. There were some allegations and rumors that has even led to the implication of this former acting DHO, that's Baguma. Actually, he was cited also, some of the accusations that were put on him was the mismanagement and the misallocation of the COVID-19 funds. Some of those task forces, even we as journalists, we in that team, we are supposed to get allowances. We did not. So some of those were issues being cited related to misappropriation of the funds of COVID-19. Others reached the extent that some of those VHTs were supposed to be given their task forces in the villages who were supposed to get those allowances. All they did not get. So they are attributing it to some of those leaders, DHOs, and some of those other responsible authorities.
The beauty is these people are actually handed over to CID, and we need to see what is done.
Exactly.
This time around, we need to see how the security agencies, how this investigation, this is criminal investigation department, how they are really doing this investigation, and it should have results this time around, because we cannot be in a country where we are misappropriating funds.
True.
Time and again. We need to be a serious country, honestly.
True.
This is not a family where you're head of a family and then you can do anything you really want because you're in that position of a man. I think that is really enough. And also, I think they should investigate who the owner of this hotel was.
Exactly.
Because how do you say that you bought utensils for the hotel? I mean, the hotel is supposed to provide services, from where it is up to them. How do you buy for them utensils? This is one of the officials who are speaking.
They are going to provide
bulky food?
Yeah.
No. I mean,
They are
let the
service
hotel
providers.
find ways. You cannot tell me, you cannot give me a car and then you have to give me fuel as well. I'm
it
giving
cannot
you money.
happen.
Why do I have to get you fuel?
Mm.
So that is something that has been happening. Let's get to a bit of sports.
Yes.
The Uganda Cranes are actually playing in Tanzania today. The match started at exactly 5 p.m. And something that MTN has done is to reward these each. They actually promised them that if they win this game, they're going to give each player 1.5 million shillings.
So that is who is going to our government?
MTN. Yeah.
Actually, yes. I think that will be one of the motivations that our players, our own Uganda Cranes, will actually acquire, because when you come out and start awarding players, I think it is one of the things that will encourage them to work hard on the pitch. Though right now, as we talk, half time has ended 0-0. That's between Uganda and Tanzania.
It has ended already?
Half time has ended. It is 0-0.
Okay.
0-0. And on the other side, Algeria has beaten, that's Niger, by 2-1. Okay. So Uganda is struggling right now. Maybe in second half they may come and win that game. So if MTN comes,
the MTN initiative, I'm not supporting it. Giving the 1.5 million.
Let me get to that thing before you get
it,
to how it is going to give the 1.5 million. I am looking at this. Honestly, as MTN Uganda, they are trying to push they are trying to transform. Yeah, you see how Elkem Sport is actually transforming Bunyoro Sport.
Yes.
MTN is really coming up as well to see how do they push Uganda Cranes, and how important, as you get to that discussion, how important, maybe we need to understand Sports Meza. How important is this game for Uganda?
Yes.
Actually, before we go to Sports Meza,
okay,
the initiative of the 1.5 M, why I'm disagreeing with it.
Okay.
If MTN gives them the 1.5 M, meaning
per player,
they are not playing to win.
They are playing
for
to
the
get
country.
1.5.
They are playing to win 1.5.
No, it is just like, honestly, you're going to school, and then your parent is like, if you're the first in class, I'm going to give you this.
Yes.
Yeah, that one, if you're the first in class, meaning the day that promise ain't there, I won't work hard.
Okay.
Yeah, but if MTN would come out and say, if you win, we shall give you a token of appreciation.
Yeah.
You don't name the price.
Yeah.
So for them, they'll go saying, if we win, you're going to be appreciated.
1.5.
Yeah.
1 point.
No, not
this
saying
is something
1.5.
they are thinking about now.
Just thinking of it. Like if I'm going to the international scene,
Okay.
when Newcastle was playing against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup finals, the owner to Newcastle told the Newcastle players, if you win the final, I'm buying each person an expensive car and I give you some little money. They came in with the mind of winning to get the trophy, to get the vehicles.
Yeah.
But when things went wrong, they had to give up because they saw. So if you supporting sports with initiatives of money, it would be good, like funding, make it the annual allowance. You say it's a match allowance. Any international player coming to Uganda for the international break, we shall refund their transport allowance rather than telling them, as you go to the pitch, play for money.
Okay. Thank you so much, MC God. And now again, in this, we needed to understand how important is this game today, as Uganda Cranes is playing Tanzania.
Actually, Uganda Cranes need a win today. It should be a must win for Uganda Cranes, and the derby always remains a derby. But if MTN comes out and say, if they are to win today's game and they are going to give them this amount of money, implying MTN has interest and want to motivate those players that they should reach, and they should actually have that team spirit and heart of scoring and winning the game. Because if Uganda is to win today's game, of course they will go into the that's the second position with the actually 4 points. Because as we talk now, Uganda is at the bottom of the group right now they have 1 point, and then Algeria, Niger is in second position. So if Uganda is to win today's game, they'll go in second. They will qualify. They will be in second position. Yes. So they have to win it, and if they make a draw, implying they're out. Their option is out.
All right. Thank you so much, the sports measure. Now, also something that has come in this week, that is Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, he has been made the captain of France national team. France national team. You see, Mbappe did well during the World Cup.
Yes,
and actually, to me, it is anyway. I had really divided interests because at some point I felt like Messi should be able to take up this because somehow he may get he's going to retire from football, and then maybe now Mbappe is a youngster. He needs really to be Messi, Mbappe being made the captain of France. What does it put him as a player, in your opinion?
Mbappe actually is a young player and very talented.
Okay.
If you have been in position to follow Mbappe's play, he has been very instrumental right from the club level up to the national team. When you try to see the final between France and Argentina in just recent concluded World Cup, Mbappe actually, he was even appreciated, and the president of France actually came and hailed him for what he did, scoring 3 goals. It was not easy. And Mbappe has that heart of loving the club, loving his country. So irrespective, it doesn't matter however young he is, but captaincy, being a captain, actually doesn't mean about age. It is how, yes,
like
you organize the club.
We all know Mbappe is a good player.
Yes.
He's talented, but Mbappe is one of the most indisciplined players, both at club level and national level. And being a captain, one thing, you should be disciplined. We would see Ramos was a rough player, but he was disciplined on pitch.
True.
But Mbappe is one of the, actually currently in PSG, there is a fight between Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe.
Okay.
Mbappe claims these two guys are working together because they're all South Americans. They don't like him. And he's trying to bring up a separation in the dressing room. There's like, well, let's say in Uganda, people say, other say Team Mbappe, then there's also Team Messi and Neymar. Meaning making him a captain on a national team, which has been, the captainship was for Hugo Lloris. Though he's now injured, he can't feature for them. I'm seeing he's aging. I'm seeing what they're doing. He's not that good. Mbappe is talented. There's being talented, but you can't be a captain.
All right. Thank you so much, MC Gad, for that kind opinion. Still, maybe it's okay. We can start with the sports measure. Some other thing that happened is the PSV ban a fan on the pitch, not banning up their player. PSV ban a fan for 40 years. It was first a fan for 40 years for them not to be able to watch games for 40 years. In Uganda, we have had a lot of people actually fighting for no reasons. More especially when we go for these games, you're going to find that people are really fighting each other. And at the end of the day, even if they ban them from the pitch, this is something that doesn't work. I mean, what is wrong with Ugandan football versus the other football, where actually this person can never be on the pitch for 40 years? It is going to be impossible. But of course, as you respond to that, we saw Marco Silva and Mitrovic. They were charged for not controlling players on the pitch. That is at Old Trafford. In the full Old Trafford encounter. That is also something that has really caught rounds on media. I mean, these fights on the pitch and also the players being quite indisciplined. I mean, who is responsible? Is it the coaches? Is it the people, the managers of the teams? Why is it supposed to happen like that?
Okay, thank you. I think we shall start with the PSV banning a fan for 40 years not to come and vote. You know, we have different rules and regulations that govern our football. In Africa and also in respective countries. So PSV banning a fan for 40 years, I think to them, they think that is the best punishment to be given to him, and others will learn a lesson from. It depends on the magnitude of the offense the person did. So you may find that what that fan did actually was equivalent, equivalent to that charges that were put on him. So some of those fans you see, actually what they do outside there, it is actually they say it prison case, but we just take it as it's lightly, but later on they will come and actually affect the entire fans and also the club. So them coming out and giving such charges, implying they don't want certain things to happen again that may cost the club.
Why is this happening in Ugandan football? I mean, even if those charges were applied to a Ugandan, they can't work.
They cannot.
Let me ask you. Of recent,
you can.
Last year when there were in athletics for the secondary schools in Masindi, there's one of the media personals in Masindi. I won't mention the name for security reasons. His camera was stolen by a student, but up now the student is well known. The reason why such errors can't work in Uganda, first of all, our media on the playgrounds is not well developed.
Okay.
If you see these Western countries, those guys, they have cameras that monitor both the fans
and
and the players.
I mean,
so if a fan does something wrong,
they know which fan did this.
Did it.
There's the evidence.
There's some fans that have been banned for such a number of years. Those clubs have what we call, even if you had got a level of Boma, there's what we call membership. Where I can go like to Boma FC, and some at
subscribing.
I'm subscribing, I'm paying such amount of money. Fans that they normally ban, those are the fans who subscribe for membership. And once you get a membership card, when it is a home game, that's why I say there are some fans that in the VIP section,
high level of discipline.
And they are protected. So if you come from such a section, it's easier to trace you. Even though you're among these other ordinary, it will be easier to trace you. But then again, in Uganda, you'll find like a team like Vipers is versing, let's say, Kitara FC in Uganda Cup. We only have like 4 cameras on pitch. And all those cameras are focusing on the game. Meaning, if a fan is to fight, and when the fan comes in and enters in and fights, know that thing, we say, people say, I get him and Kurwan. We are used to it this side.
Okay.
And if I'm to chip in on the issue of Mitrovic not controlling his fans, yes, I'm a Man U fan. I watched that game, but may I say, the Fulham team was kind of maliced by the referee, and the person who's supposed to control players on the pitch is the captain.
Yeah.
I think Mitrovic
then
is their
outside
captain.
the pitch is the coach.
Mitrovic, he was the person, he had to overreact. And why the FA is complaining, Mitrovic has played football for a long time. He's an experienced player in Premier League.
Okay.
So the FA sees him like someone with football maturity. He shouldn't overshout over some issues. Because these days, football has been modernized. You can get a red card and VAR cancelled it. We saw ZH got a red card, VAR cancelled it out. And actually, they wanted to ban those 2 players. But Fulham came in and petitioned. They just had to pay a fine to the referee. So meaning, that's why I came in. If that's when I'll bring back the Mbappe's issue. Being a captain, you should be able to control the pitch. Because a captain, there are 3 types of captains on the team. There's an off-pitch captain who comes to give in like motivation. Then there are other 2 captains, the first one and the second one, so that when the first one ain't around, the second one comes in. So, but if the first 2 should be well disciplined in case of anything, and the fans want to fight. That's what I see when you're watching football, and the players want to fight. The captain comes and tells the players, "No, don't fight." It's the captain who talks to the referee. But that thing it reach to Uganda, it will take a long time. We first have to drop our media on the pitches of Uganda.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, MC Gad. Honestly, I would also suggest the same issues in Uganda, because you see, as we're trying to transform football, we are trying to transform sport, we should be in position to put in place certain things. And now I want to do shout outs for people that are watching us live on LKM TV. I'm going to start with Harriet Kabarungi, who is saying, Muebale kuhereza. Thank you so much, Harriet Kabarungi, for keeping it live on LKM television and LKM Agafiire Muwiki. Jojo Music is saying, thanks for the show. Thank you so much, Jojo Music, for keeping it live on LKM television. Dennis Matov is saying, watching live from Masindi town. Thank you so much, Dennis. And also is saying, thanks for the show. All right, thank you so much, our viewers, for keeping it live on LKM television. And usually when you see the black screen, sometimes it is because the internet is beating us so seriously here. But we try to make sure that we give you empereza enungi. Yes, the best empereza. All right, as we are rolling out this show, we are supposed to be out of here, but something that I cannot go without mentioning is the gangs in Hoima. Yes, now to the local news, things that have also been making round in the news is the new gangs in Hoima. And these gangs in Hoima are actually using iron bars. Yes, iron bars to terrorize
people. But that's not the first time in
people.
Hoima that
Yeah, that is not the first time, and it is good that the security vows to track down or to crack down these people in Hoima, and that is one of the things that they put up because they did speak with the with the mayor, no, the RCC, sorry, the RCC, and what the RCC did mention is how these people are actually being ganged is when they're coming from football, because the first incident was when there was a Champions League. Someone was hit terribly. One was actually killed. Yeah, one is already killed. I mean, these are something that are happening. We used to hear them in Masaka, you know, Bijambias, things are now in Hoima.
They used to come here in Kiande, in Masindi, sometime back.
Actually, I think
it's
the
still
issue
the iron bars, these gangs.
people are throwing letters in. But I think the Kiande issue, they were just some
Let's start from the Hoima issue. You had the Hoima issue.
Hoima issue, it's not the first time. I remember I was in Sata around 2013, 2014. That issue was there, but the issue which was there, they'll just wait for these border bees carrying people at night. After dropping your passenger, they terrorize you. Actually, even there's a day one thief was arrested in Hoima, so that called a peace meeting between the border guys. Then the border guys had to come up and beat the thief during the meeting. It's not the first time. And what we know, most people, I have many friends from Hoima. They have a place called Kiriatete. It's the Kijuru of Hoima, but let's Kijuru is at least these days
the
normal.
Kijuru of Hoima.
People from there keep on saying, it Kiriatete into our Fuga town, even our police batutina.
Yeah, by the way, those things usually do even in Nyanga here in Masindi. They will keep on telling you that Nyanga ya not police tina.
And even another thing,
even if they are doing patrols, they'll put them in only Nyanga and other places they feel.
Actually, you find such a places. Now, if I'm using an example of Nyanga, you find the police posts which are nearby, they are not well equipped. And another thing, why in Masindi such incidents are not common? Remember, we have lots of forces in Masindi. You have a training school, you have a police barracks, we have an UPDF barracks. And Hoima, they just have a detached, not a barracks, which is not that equipped. And another thing, Hoima is more near to the border of Congo. More people are flooding in to Hoima,
the
Albert region, then they settle in Hoima. You may find such people coming with different intentions. So even that thing should be, the RCC should first go to the borders and see the immigration of people into Hoima. How is it?
All right. Thank you so much. Moses, you had something to say about those things that are happening in Hoima? We need to get out of here.
Actually, this thing of iron bar hitman, it started way back around 2014. Yes, 2014 there. But I think it has not been so much. Those people just come. It reaches a time they even disappear by themselves, and I don't know what is their target. Always, we have never seen them. Maybe they have
staying for a long.
They just come for a short period of time. They go away. So they might be having their target, but they are not a threat as such, like how terrorists have been terrorizing in some certain areas. So those guys, I think they can easily be silenced once they hear of security personnel
coming.
They just disappear.
Yeah, and that is what Hoima has been in position to do. They have been in position to put up these patrols during the nights, but also people that move in the night need to be questioned.
True.
You know, this is your life, and at the end of the day, before the police is actually police is not going to stand on the road, like on every point of the road. I mean, you should be able to know that you're supposed to be in your homes earlier enough. You know, football, now that we have Premier League, we have this FA, we have this and the other. You see, they are very active. They're very active. So we need to be super careful. Now, the last thing here, 3 have been arrested for conning millions from locals. And this is in the name of bursaries. I mean, someone comes in and says, we are giving you a bursary, but bring 100,000 for registering your child. I mean, you're giving me a bursary. Why should I register with 100,000? Then you see they are going to gather a lot of people, and then something that I've noticed is the parent will look at, okay, now these people are giving my child a bursary for about 4 years until they finish education. Let me put this registration of 100.
Bring in expensive schools.
Yeah.
They may say, I'm taking your kid to St. Lawrence.
Yeah, St. Lawrence.
And the parent will sit down and say,
you signed.
The parent will sit down and say, at that school is paying almost like 1 M to 2 M per term. Now the parent calculates 3 times a year. That is 3 M only tuition. Without upkeep, that give my kid everything. Only 100,000.
100,000.
Actually, that thing is more common at university level. It's more common at university level. We have people who lobby you for government sponsorship.
Yeah.
You pay something like 2.5 M, but at the end, some people don't get the government. I've seen that at university.
Honestly,
some kids have dropped. We joined with them because for them they wanted to con money from parents. They had to get tuition of 1 semester to pay to get bursaries.
So that they can continue to chew this one
from the parents. And some were saved because of lockdown. We came back. Others had to con the parents that universities need more tuition, so they paid, and others dropped out. But what I'm seeing, even parents should be extra careful because there's no bursary that they pay for.
Honestly, it's a bursary. Then you're paying for what?
There's no bursary they pay for.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me close with you, Moses and Emma. What is your take on these things? Making rounds of conmen and then bursaries.
Actually, talking about this of bursary, there is a story I'm doing. I'm doing certain story, and of which I may not mention the name of that institution right now, where they wrote a letter to the 11th Parliament. That was on 17th of June 2021. They actually announced half bursaries per each constituency, where they're supposed to get 5 children and the vulnerable ones. They're going to give them half bursaries in that institution. That is the School of Nursing and Midwifery. But when those students were able to reach there, the half bursary instead turned into full bursary. And the parents had sent them there. So we are wondering whether the proprietor of that institution connived with the members of parliament in order to con the parents to get those students, and later on made them to pay the full tuition, because at first those students were supposed to pay 750, but later on the tuition was 1.3. Now they hacked the tuition to 1.93. Right now, and they are paying. The situation there is not good, and it involves.
I mean, the child is already in school. You feel like, let me just pay this money.
Exactly. So parents are crying. Others sold off their lands to raise that half bursary to make that their children go there. But later on, what happened is very alarming. So con men are there, and the parents need to be very careful.
All right. Thank you so much, Andama. Of course, this and more news will be coming up every Friday on LKM Television. And we ask you to always keep it live on LKM Television. This is Agafiire Muwiki. And we want to wish you a very, very good weekend. Maybe your last word. Weekend only.
Actually,
we need to get out of here.
Our viewers, we just want to wish you very good weekend and catch us again next week. God bless you.
All right. Yes, MC God.
All right, our dear viewers of Welcome Television, this weekend be safe, enjoy it responsibly. Because next week we
don't
need
be
you.
hit by
We have more shows coming in.
Yeah.
And next week, what I know, this weekend is action packed.
Yeah.
Next week in Agafiire week, I'm bringing you more news in the entertainment world.
Yeah.
Peace and love, everyone. Thank you for following us. Thank you for viewing us. Keep it up.
All right. Thank you so much, MC God. My name is Elijah Kelvin Murungi, and thank you so much for keeping it live on LKM TV. This has been Agafiire Muwiki. Let us catch up tomorrow on the online church services. That is at exactly 12 p.m. And that is in the SDA fraternity or the SDA domination. And then on Sunday at exactly 6 a.m. we shall be at St. Jude. That is St. Jude Catholic Church in Masindi. And later at around midday, we shall be at Gospel Center Church Kisita, and that is at Pastor Mbaizi. And then later we shall come back for Let Your Kingdom Come at around 3 to 3:30 p.m. And at exactly 4 p.m. we shall be going in for the platform. Of course, the topic that we're going to be looking at the key highlights that have been happening in the week. If you've missed the updates, you can be able to catch us live on Sunday on the platform. My name is Elijah Kelvin Murongi. Have a very good and nice weekend.